Right. Well, we're going through the whole process of learning how to go hard every day, learning what it takes. Heard a great term last night. I think it fits our team: resiliency training. And I think it fits exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to understand how important it is to stay fundamentally sound, how to get better every day with our footwork, with our ball handling, with our shooting, all those different things, spending an inordinate amount of time on that. But at the same time, we're trying to get our team to understand all the different concepts that go into it. And I think the most important thing is that we've got a ton of upside, but we've got a long way to go to get to that upside. And days like today, when we're not as efficient as we could be, or we're not as locked in as we could be, it's all part of this whole process of getting them to understand that. And our situation is one where we're going to stay hard at it, keep being demanding on the mental side of the game, which turns into make the physical side so much better, and continue to look for different combinations, to look for different ways to get better on the court, whether it's offensively or defensively. But the most important thing, and like I told the team, is that we've got to really establish an identity. The teams that establish it the quickest and can really lock into it are usually the ones that get better over the long period of time. And I think we've got to get that, and I think what I've got to do is I've got to really start to establish for them what their roles are right now. And it's a little early for that. It's probably very early for that. But get ourselves in a sense of what our expectation level is when it comes to shooting the ball, when it comes to who's shooting the ball where, when it comes to the ball handling, when it comes to the level of screening that we have to have, when it comes to the level of rebounding that we have to be at, all of that. And I think with a young team, it's really important that we can do that. But I mean, I just throw my hands up sometimes. No idea where to go with some of that right now, because we really are so young. But I mean, they're working hard. They've just got to understand how to compete just a little bit longer. And I think tomorrow night is going to be a great test for that, because we're playing against a team that played very well at Valparaiso, and obviously must have played extremely well today against Toledo, who's picked to win their division in the MAC. And so this will give us a chance to see a very good shooting team. How many threes today? They took 30 threes today. They took 25 threes the other night. It gives us a chance to go against some very good players, and gives us a chance to game plan for them, and gives us a chance to play those different combinations and look at different things, and at the same time see how much better we can get. So we're anxious to play, I know that.
What do you want this team's identity to be?
Well, I think what they've got to learn is that the offense doesn't create the defense creates the offense. And I think a lot of times, I mean, we're fast, and we're trying to really get out and run our break, but like we had the first over-the-top basket today in this practice that we probably had in a week. Cody Zeller used to get a couple every day, and that's with everybody running back to stop him, and obviously got him in the game. So it's got to come from the defensive side. It can't be, let's just work so hard on our offense. It's got to be the defense creates it, the rebounding creates it. Like I told the team, you're never going to dominate games with fast break points. But now you add the fast break points, you add the hustle points, and you get the points off turnovers, and now you really got a chance to be good. And that's where point differential comes in. So we've got to start to establish that. We've got to be a better rebounding team. I don't think we're pursuing the ball the way that we need to. And I don't think we're nearly as physical as we need to be. And we've got to get as much physicality out of this team as we can, based on the fact that they've got a lot of growing up to do, body-wise and strength-wise. We've got to take very good shots. My biggest concern going into tomorrow night is turnovers. I mean, far too many turnovers. Far too much sloppy play. We've got to get that corrected. But at the same time, we're trying to be fast. We're trying to be very, very up-tempo. And so there are going to be certain turnovers that are going to come with that. But it can't come from trying to do things that aren't there. It can't come from trying to make plays that can't be made. And we've got to start to learn to understand the difference.
When you're explaining concepts to them, do you go back and lean on tape from last year's team just to show them what you want?
Not as much tape yet. We're maxing out a lot of our time on the court, because we have so much to do. And I wouldn't say, even in a long practice, it's not a long practice of just pure out all intensity, but there's a lot of, we're carrying over our individual workouts really into the practices. And a lot of shooting, a lot of layups. There's certain minutes that I want to make sure we're getting every day when it comes to basic things of passing, cutting, layups, three-point shooting. And I think if anything, our fast break drills have probably taken a little bit of a detour because we're spending so much time on that. We're spending a lot of time on footwork defensively, spending a lot of time on positioning defensively, spending a lot of time on rotations defensively. And so we will watch that film. We watched a little bit, but there'll be a lot more. It's a long season, so there'll be a lot more time for that.
What's the biggest thing you want to see, improve from last game to this one? Is there any one?
Challenge shots better, not gamble defensively, but at the same time not take their instincts and their athletic instincts away from them, but really start to understand how to be more solid defensively. I hope we use our length even better, and that's a team that got over 50 deflections. But I want to see the leadership improve. I want to see game leadership improve. I want to see more than just Will, leading the team on the court and making points on the court. I want to see more accountability from them to each other. I don't want to see lack of energy. I don't want to see frustrations and things like that young teams go through. And we've got to be really, really solid defensively. We've got to be physical in our blockouts. We've got to take care of the ball offensively at the same time, try to, break the speed barrier. And when you're asking for those things, they kind of knock heads. And my job is to make sure I understand the difference and don't get too overzealous if something is not good because we're trying really hard or we're trying to play really fast, but at the same time don't allow slippage to come because we weren't locked in or we didn't play with enough energy.
Is this, you talked about their outside shooting, is this a game that maybe tests, as you've talked about, this team's understanding of its length and what it can do with that?
I think game planning is going to be big. We didn't game plan much at all. And I think it's like anything else with this team. It's done in small doses with this team. So more than, okay, we're going to man, we're going to zone. I mean, there's certain things we're going to want to take away in the game. And how we do that will say a lot about our improvement level because that's something they haven't had to do. And how we play certain screens, how we play certain plays, how we play certain players. And that's something they're going to have to be very good at doing as we move down the line. We didn't do really any of that in the first game. And we'll do it, like I said, in small doses and see where we stand in it and then make adjustments during the game.
How important for this team's development is it just to play another game against another opponent of any kind?
Oh, I think it's very important. But the old corny term of play the right way is really important right now too. And our play the right way may be a little different than some others because we want to play so fast, but we've got to take care of the ball and make the right decisions. The old baseball analogy of hitting singles, not home runs. Let's hit a bunch of singles and maybe throw a few doubles, and all of a sudden those doubles look like home runs. Instead of trying to make plays that aren't there. And those home runs that we thought we were throwing turn into strikeouts. So to me, that's the kind of stuff that's really important in this game. And just getting them to play through a fatigue level. They have trouble right now playing through certain levels. Going above and beyond where they think they can be. And that's a young team. And I've been with young teams. I mean, the first year's team had no idea what they were doing. It wasn't anybody's fault. They were all brand new. But this team is asking a bunch of young guys to play very important roles on it. And how you get there mentally is going to be extremely important, and how you deal with the rest, fatigue, adversity, how you deal with the referees, how you deal with the opponent, all those different things. So making sure that there's not a frustration that kicks in, making sure that no one gets into the body language department. We can't have that. And so if that means a couple of hard-line decisions and a couple of substitutions for them to learn, it's part of the process. That's why I'm glad it's still an exhibition game.
Other than the shooting, I guess, what else impresses you about Hillsdale and what makes them a good challenge for you guys?
Really, really good spacing. This is a very good movement, motion, screening, set a screen, receive a screen. Very good at that. And if we're not on top of that, what we've got to do is really challenge shots. We've got to get guys off their spots. We've got to get guys out of rhythm shots because they want to reverse the ball, keep cutting and screening, look for those layups, and all of a sudden there's a wide open three. So motion teams for any team are usually very, very hard to defend. For a young team, it could be a nightmare. And that means that we don't want to give them too much of what to do inside of the game with the game planning, but we're not just going to come out and play. We've got to come out with a real purpose And like I said at the beginning, the challenge of the shots will be a big thing, no matter what they're running.
A lot of what you're saying sounds very similar to what you said in your second year here. Is there a sense
You
of
got a
deja?
great memory.
Is
I
there-
erased that.
Is there a sense of deja vu with that? Because it's somewhat.
No, I don't look at it like that. We got a lot of talent out there. It's so different. So, but I like it. I mean, it's a challenge, and every once in a while I gotta remember to keep patient and keep it in perspective. But they want to be really good, and we're trying to get people to play at the highest level of college basketball. And before they ever play at that level, I mean, opponent-wise, they've got to understand what that takes. So we keep trying to raise those standards and hold people to high standards. And the greatest thing we can do is develop a deep bench so that we can do multiple things. We can keep a running game going. We can do different things defensively. But so when somebody's not getting it, we have somewhere to go, you know? And if someone is moved into an individual mode in that game, that we have somewhere to go. I mean, that's part of it. We didn't have a lot of other places we could go in year two, so I think we're going to have a few different guys that can play in this class or in this team.
How much have you, I guess, balanced? You've talked about Jeremy as a point guard as needing to embrace a bigger role, but not just offensively. I guess how much with a guy that can do a lot of different things for you do you maybe balance how you push somebody like that?
Well, he's got to get the identity down of the energy level and the movement. I mean, he's got to really grasp how good he can be defensively and what's going to be required of him defensively. And that's to be a key component of our defense, whether it's an individual matchup, whether it's a switching, whether it's a switching of defenses, coverages, communications, all those type of things. And Jeremy's biggest weakness right now is that he drifts into the woodwork a little bit when he doesn't have the ball on offense, and that won't cut it. And I think that's one of the reasons he's making so much more improvement, having the ball in his hands and making plays. But he's got to be more active. He's got to become more and more of a back cut guy, read the defense, get to the offensive glass, swing the ball. You know, what we will not have on this team is guys that let the ball stop. You know, if the ball, and it doesn't matter who it is, and a lot of times when guys are young, I can take my man, or I can make this play. That's not what does it. What scores 80 points a game like we had last year is that ball movement at a constant rate where the players are constantly playing off what the defense is giving them. And they're moving on penetrations and they know where to be. And it's not about set plays, it's more about the concepts that go into it in the movement. And we're not an offense where we can just catch it, hold it, you know, hope something happens. We've got to really, really stay active. Jeremy's in that boat right now. But at the same time, I'm really looking tomorrow night for who can really, really lock into what we need to do defensively and who's going to be physical on the glass.
How healthy is Devin? I guess is he
Better? Yeah, he's been better. We've had everybody back this week, and you know, one of the coaches mentioned, you know, guys are starting to separate, and I disagreed. I said, I'm not seeing a lot of separation right now, which means we've got a lot of guys that are really working hard and playing hard, but we don't have really people that are pulling away from the pack, and I'm going to treat that as a good thing. You know, and Devin's right there in that mix to be a guy that can contribute for this team.
So he's, I guess, he's cleared to play tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, unless something changes tonight, I think everybody's in.
Anything else, Coach?
All right, thank you.